Okay, welcome to Graphics Design. Today is Wednesday, March 11th. We have Ryan absent and Grace not here as well. And so we are about to get started on our final project, which again, is 3 steps. Step 1, get rid of the baseball player. Step 2, find your own image of somebody, full screen version, full body version of somebody. Doesn't have to be Rafael Nadal, can be anybody you want. Resolution should be good. You are going to have to put that here behind the catcher. So, and I did a terrible job, of course, as you can see here. I just really did a rush job on my cropping. And so, and obviously it has to be behind the catcher, so the arm of the catcher is going to be on another layer as well. Absent students, you'll watch the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's a gist of what you guys are going to be doing for this third and final project in Gimp, and I'm almost done talking. But there is one more new technique. Last time I taught you guys the new technique of using shift. Okay, very, very important, especially to try to get things to line up. Like I tried to get this bleacher to line up when I used the clone tool on it. And I was somewhat successful. I mean, I can see a little bit of jaggedness right here and right here. So I didn't do a perfect job, but I can probably heal that away. I don't know if you guys, oh, you know, I turned down my brightness, so hang on. Let me get my brightness down. I also have to change it for my other classes. Otherwise, all the images are washed out. But for you guys, I need this thing up pretty high. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you can see it. Right where my crosshair, it's right above my crosshair, right there. It's easier to see on my screen. I know you guys might be like, Mr. Yang, and there's another one right there. Mr. Yang, that's like nothing, but you're looking on my projector. If you looked on my monitor, you'd see it a little bit better. Okay, so there's one more technique I want to teach you guys today, and it's very, very easy. To get rid of this baseball player, obviously start with the bat, that's the easiest, and then start with the bleacher, that's the second easiest, right? But then what do I do with the rest of this baseball player? And then I would say the dirt is pretty easy. You have to get rid of his shadow down here and his shadow right here on his foot and a little bit of shadowing right there as well. And obviously get rid of his foot and his leg and all. We don't want any of him left. We want it to look like here. Again, here's the goal, to get it down to this. All right? One more tip for how to do that, and this is a very important tip, guys. When you're cloning, a lot of students will go ahead and start from one direction and try to clone the whole thing over. Like I set my sample region to here, and I try to do this. And then like that. Right? You see what you get what I'm doing, right? I mean, yeah, you could do that, but it's not going to look good, and that's a terrible, terrible job. So newsflash, that is a terrible job. And I mean, can you tell that the shade, look how different the shade of the green grass is down here in front of the catcher versus, you know, up there. The shading is going to be different. So please don't, number one, sample from the same region over and over again, number one. Number two, please don't like keep on, you're going to want to change your sample area often. And please don't do these herky-jerky little small little dashes. And obviously that's not even going to line up with the grass, the stripes in the grass on the other side. So that is a terrible job. Now, the big tip here, that's just a review. Sorry, I keep on saying the big tip, but that's not it yet. The big tip is this. Here, let me undo all of this. There's actually 2 big tips. The biggest one is because the shade of the grass is changing, every little centimeter or inch you move, the shading is changing. So you're going to have to, my tip here is, watch what I do. I'm just going to go ahead and show you a little bit of what I mean. Sample here. I'm going to start drawing here. Okay, I didn't line it up, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Obviously, I did a bad job there. But then, What is my tip? Right. Come in from both sides. Do you understand my tip? Because the shading on this side is going to be very different from the shading on that side. But we need to get rid of the baseball player. But you don't have to do it all from one side, because then by the time you reach the other side, you're going to find that the shading of the grass is going to be way different, and it's going to look kind of bad. So the idea here, what you should do is come in from both sides. Halfway from one side, halfway from the other side, and meet somewhere, meet somewhere in the middle. You see, I mean, obviously I did a hack job there, but do you understand what I'm saying here? That's what you're going to want to do. Last, final tip. This is going to take a really long time for me to line this up, and it's going to be a major pain in the butt. Does anybody have an idea of how I can do this a little bit faster? Ideas? You tell me. What do you think?
Make the rectangle a lot longer, angle it,
Oh.
do it from one side and the other.
Oh, make that rectangle a lot bigger? That would be a good idea. Now, there is one small problem. That's actually my tip. And angling it sometimes we can angle it. I'll show you in just a second. But here we go. Let's take a look here. I'm going to go ahead, go to my tool options. I'm on this brush here. You guys see that right there? It's just that brush right there. Now, if I change the size of it, the only problem with that, here, let me go up nice and big. The only thing, it's okay, but it's a little bit fatter, wider than I want it. So is there a way to get this thing so that it's just as tall as that is, but it's not as wide, you see? Because if I do that, it might sample into other regions. I might have some trouble here. So here's what I would say. Change it to this brush instead. Can you even see it? Oh, it's so small you can't see it. There it is. Here's the brush. Mijang, that's the wrong angle. Well, you can change the angle right here. Type in 90. Enter. I showed you guys that already. And now I can go ahead and increase it much, much more. There. Oh, it looks pretty good. That's a good size. Well, I don't want to be... I do have to fix the brown area as well. But let me just concentrate right now on the grass. So let me control-click here to sample here. Control-click. And I'm going to start clicking. Now, here's the thing. Look, when your first click is essential. It has to line up. Your first click. So if I click and I'm like, see, does that line up at all? No, it doesn't. Not even close. That doesn't line up. I'm going to sample a little bit closer down here. Let's do that. Your first click is crucial. Does that line up? Close. Very, very close. Let's just pretend it does. Bam. Obviously, a little bit of healing needs to happen there, right? To fix that up. But then I'm going to clone click from here. Control, set my region. And your first click has to line up with the stripes. If you're like down here, it's like, no, that doesn't even line up at all, right? Your first click. So you're going to have to undo a lot until you're like pretty happy with how you lined up. No. Oh, dang. That's going to be, no. Depends on where you're looking, too. And see, sometimes by cloning too much, it doesn't really work out. Because it's lining up close to the middle, but it's not lining up down there. But, yeah, I am. Here, let's Control-Z. Let's go here. Control-Z. Here. Okay, well, you get the idea. You have to line up that first side. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click. And draw. Now, obviously, now I've put his elbow back on there, right? Because this sample region hit the region that I had before. But again, click again, click again, click again, till you line it up. And when you're happy with that, click and draw. And use the shift tool that I told you guys about already before. Okay, look how quick that was. Obviously, Michelle, that's a terrible job. But you can imagine. Look how much of it looks pretty good. Okay? So, my top tips on this. I'm going to write it on the board too. Well, if I write it on the board, people at home can't see it. Okay, so I won't write it on the board. I'll type it up. How about that? Here, hang on, real quick. I'm almost done. Thank you for your patience. let me, top tips. Number one, oh, too big. Too big. Okay. Tip number one, period. Okay. Clone, then heal. You understand what I'm saying there, right? Clone first, heal on the second pass. Tip number two is use, resample. Sample often. Tip number three, use shift tool, right? To draw straight, right? And number four, let's see, clone from both sides. And really, patience is one of the big keys there. So those are really the keys for being able to do this. All right, any questions on this project? All right. Well, go ahead and I'm going to stop the video here. Turn on your computers.